Hello there and welcome back to some more Silly Car Showdown. Today we are taking a look at one of my arch nemesis, the BMW X5. Whenever I encounter one of these things on the road, I run and hide. This car was requested by RKD, and in all seriousness, the X5M was a car I was not particularly expecting to show off in this series, but I mean, RKD wanted it, so here it is, the X5M. Yeah. I will say, as much as I dislike seeing one of these things on the road, I'm more talking normal X5s, not X5M specifically. The X5M's, I guess, cool because it's stupid. This car historically has actually been pretty good to drive in Forza. Driven it for Forza Top Gear laps a few times, and the way I always describe this car is it handles like a bigger Super Impreza. The question is, will it be able to do that here on Horizon 4? Right. I have no restrictions in terms of engines I can use, and my choices are 5.2 litre V10 or a 6.5 litre V12. We're going to go for that V12. Yes, please. As always, no drivetrain swaps are allowed in this series, and interestingly enough, as with most off-road cars in this game, this car actually has a wide body kit, so we will go ahead and use that for the larger tyres. Now, in terms of body mods, there are actually, like, ram bars and stuff. I don't know if I want to use those or not. I guess I'll come back to them, because they do add a fair bit of weight. In terms of tyres, we do actually get the full selection of tyres, which is not something you'd expect for an off-road car, but we do. 325s on the front, 365s on the rear. Jesus Christ. We have hella tyres on this thing. Bloody hell, yeah, those are tyres. I was not quite expecting tyres that big. I'm very scared of this car now. This could actually be a sleeper hit in terms of its performance around the track. We, of course, are going to want brakes to slow this thing down. And the race springs and dampers don't lower it quite as much as I was expecting, but they still certainly drop a good couple of feet from the car. We are definitely want to go for that weight reduction on 1,214 pounds reduced. Yes, that's a hell of a lot of weight we've just thrown out the car. And the PI not massively climbing when we're putting the power into it, although I wouldn't really expect it to. S2931 and S2934 with the intercooler. Jesus, that does drop the PI massively, and apparently that improves our braking, so sod it. I will have the extra lights that apparently improve braking. I'm assuming this doesn't improve anything. No. So yeah, I guess we'll go with the silly lights. So what are we making? 1,515 horsepower, 1,101 foot-pound torque, 4,503 pounds of weight. I think this may be the heaviest car we've ever had, apart from maybe the limo. 2 seconds to 60. 249 miles per hour top speed. This car is quick. Now, if it's as good around the corners as the tyre sizes would make it be, this could very well be heading towards the top end of our leaderboard, which is a terrifying prospect that a BMW SUV may very well be high up on our leaderboard, but yeah, the stats don't lie and the stats are bloody impressive. But of course, while stats on a piece of paper are one thing, its performance in the real world is rather different. Let's go see what it does when it encounters our track in Edinburgh. So here we are in Edinburgh with our absolutely ridiculous BMW X5. It is going to get 5 laps to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Ferrari Huracan V12 GT with a time of 1:35.743. I'd usually say the X5M hasn't got a chance to beat it, but depending on how this goes, the Huracan may very well have a very close cellmate. I don't think it's particularly going to beat it. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if this gets surprisingly close to beating it. Because, yeah, it's basically, ironically enough, you wouldn't really expect it, but it's sort of the perfect car for this series. It has the power, it has 4-wheel drive, it has acceleration, it has huge top speed. The only thing it doesn't have in its favour is the weight, but I mean, power can compensate for weight. And as we've seen in quite a few cars, lighter doesn't necessarily mean better around a street circuit such as this, because the bumps and all that are much worse when you hit them in a lighter car compared to hitting them in a heavier car. And we've actually had more issues historically with the way cars handle when they are lighter. I will say the brakes aren't the best, but that's my only real complaint about it so far. The weight is a little bit of an issue through the corner, a little bit understeery, but then again it is four-wheel drive. It's sort of the trade-off you get. With four-wheel drive you get advantages pretty much anywhere else, you just don't get quite the same levels of grip around corners. Yeah, a 1:44.056 is a very quick first lap. I guess the Stelvio is the closest thing to this. I think that was a 1:43.2, somewhere around there. But this should be quicker than the Stelvio. It has more power than the Stelvio. I mean, the Stelvio probably was slightly nicer to drive. Stelvio a little bit lighter, but power really can make the difference. And I mean, looking at the stats for this thing, the stats are ridiculous. In terms of its driving, it's also pretty ridiculous. It's surprising how much speed you can take through the corners. You know, you're driving this giant SUV. It should not be able to do what it does, but it does it. I mean, 160 down there, and that was with early braking. This thing is sort of right up there in terms of top speed. So the only way the weight is really affecting it is through the corners a little bit, but it's not by much. I mean, in terms of its cornering capabilities, I mean, when I say it's understeery, I mean like it's understeery compared to like the top few cars we've had. Not in terms of like, you know, compared to regular cars, this thing can take more corner speed. The tyres are ridiculous on this thing. There is no spinning of the wheels whatsoever. Of course, in a four-wheel drive car you'd expect that, but I think it's partly helped by the fact that there's 365s on the rear end of this thing, which is some of the biggest tyres we've ever seen, and that's really contributing towards helping this car an awful lot. A 1:47.69. That is extremely fast. In fact, that would put it into second. So it's beat the V8 Ford Focus, but can it get any closer to that Huracan? If I can get this thing into like the 139s, my work here will be done, and I will be very impressed and also very happy, because this thing is, as much as I don't like the X5, it is pretty ridiculous to have this SUV go around here. So the one thing that sort of, I guess, is the biggest takeaway from this series is these SUVs are surprisingly good for something like this, because they have four-wheel drive, because the tyres are huge, because quite a few of them can have wire body kits and stuff like that. SUVs may very well be the thing that dominates this series. It wouldn't surprise me if eventually we come across an SUV that can get to X-Class. Something like the Urus, you know, maybe that could be potentially a really very, very good car. I'm not too sure. What I am sure about is my nose is itching at inopportune times again, which is lovely. I guess we are getting more towards hay fever season now, so it is April 1st as I record this. Trust me, this delivery is not an April Fool's joke. I've actually had this delivery for ages. I can't remember why, but I saw it, I found it funny, so I equipped it. It's actually a pretty well done livery as well, to be fair. It also slightly takes the piss out of the overrated car from the overrated Need for Speed game. I'm sorry, Carbon's better than Most Wanted 2005, fight me. Anyways, we sort of slink ourselves around that section very quickly there. That was not quite intentional, but I'm not going to complain. This may very well be a very quick lap if the starting's anything to go by, and the hitting of the wall instantly wipes away anything I just said. This is why I try not to say when I'm on a quick lap, because usually that means I'm going to cock it up somehow. I don't know why I decided not to say fuck it up. Went for cock. I guess cock is a funnier word. Anyways. I mean, fuck can be a good word as well sometimes. And before you say it, YouTube does not demonetize any of my videos, so suck me. In fact, the only video I've ever had demonetized was literally called Horsecock Harry. And that's pretty explainable by the fact the title of that video was Horsecock Harry, so... Yeah, don't worry too much about that. But yeah, this car is good. This car is bloody good. In fact, it's pretty much brilliant. Yeah, it's good. Very good. Of course, we're coming on to the final lap now. I'm hoping that this will be the lap. I want the 139 out of this thing. Again, it's not beating the Huracan. It simply weighs too much to beat the Huracan. It's not quite as nice, and obviously the Huracan was a fair way into X-Class. But I want my 139 out of this thing, and I think it can do it. I really think it can do it. A little bit of a weird bump through there, but that's fine. But yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, in terms of driving, this versus the Lamborghini, I actually think this is a nicer car to drive than the Lambo. It inspires a little bit more confidence than the Lambo, certainly. It is ridiculous, though. There's no getting around how ludicrous an idea this is. I guess it's a more ludicrous idea of the fact that this actually works, though. I guess the only real big limitation is you can't really see that far in front of you when you're using third person in a vehicle this size, but there's a small price to pay, I guess. It's not as bad as something like a Unimog, so can't complain too much. Yeah, this thing is massively quick. I like it a lot. I really do like it a lot. Which is weird for me, because again, X5M, one of my least favourite cars in the world. But, I mean, with V12 in it, the funny thing is the V12 engine isn't actually that far-fetched. BMW did make a one-off version of an X5 with the engine from a V12 LMR race car in it, so... the Le Mans winning car, actually, the 99 Le Mans winner, so... Yeah, it's not actually that far-fetched to see a V12 in one of these things, but it's a pretty funny concept nonetheless. Just get that 139. 139,964. I'm very happy I got my under 140. That... it shouldn't work. On no level in the world should this thing exist, or work, or function. But it does, and it does incredibly well. It's an incredible car, this. I really like it. Yeah. Give it a try, certainly. Give the X5 the V12 a try. You'll be surprised. Just any of the SUVs in general. As much as I know SUV is sort of a dirty word these days in the world of the crossover and all the rest of it. SUVs can be very, very good cars. Because, again, four-wheel drive, wide tyres. They're very good. And if this thing weighed £1,000 less, that Lamborghini could be in for a very, very hard time indeed. But nevertheless, a 139,964 is incredible. It will put it into second place. It is only 4 seconds down on the Huracan. It is quicker by almost 2 seconds over the Focus RS and the Griffith. It's 2.5 seconds quicker than the NSX-R. It is 3 and a bit seconds quicker than the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, the other SUV we had. Yeah, it's a truly incredible car, this X5. Give it a go, because it's ridiculous. It will surprise you. It is very cool. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching this edition of the Silly Car Showdown. If you'd like to request cars for this series, you can do so down below in the comment section, either on my video or on the video uploaded over on HD Central. Alternatively, join my Discord and you can put them in the request chat. That's the way I prefer you do it, because it leaves everything in one nice, neat little section. If you've enjoyed me, if you're watching this on HD Central, my name is Emile, my link is down below in the description. I make subpar content, which you may apparently find good. If you're clicking the channel, then you probably somewhat like this video, so I guess you might like it, I don't know. Anyways, you can click the link and check out some 5 out of 10 content. But other than that, thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.